If ever there was an overnight success story, 17-year-old schoolboy Brad Fittler is it. In just 2 weeks, he's gone from the Cambridge under-17s in Sydney's West to Penrith first grade.
That was a big change. That was most probably the biggest step, straight from 17s. But after 10-15 minutes, I was all right.
How were those first 10 minutes?
I was pretty nerve-wracking. Didn't know where I was.
He came on just after half-time in the 37-0 win over West yesterday and set up 2 tries. The second a brilliant display of skill and a magic step. It was a fairy tale debut, but a trial higher school certificate exam today at Emu Plains McCarthy High meant no celebrations.
No, I couldn't celebrate at the game and study for my biology exam.
Tagged for greater things to come, Brad has already worn the green and gold at schoolboy level for Australia against Great Britain earlier this season. But he's not too sure about grand final pressure.
It'd be good to be out there, it'd be pretty nerve-wracking. Big crowds, I don't know if I'd be in
Oh, yes, too good. How good. Something from the archives. Brad Fittler sitting down with the great Jimmy Wilson.
Wow.
3 decades later, almost 3 decades later, Brad, here we are, reflecting on your amazing career.
Yeah, that was awesome. I remember those early games. I was so blessed to come into a really good footy team, and that's been the real key, I think, to playing over 300 games. I played some really good footy teams, so that was good.
Were your expectations then as a youngster high in footy? You had to play for your state, your country?
No, it all come, I think, because it came so early. It just felt like, I don't know, never thought about it really, never had time to think about it.
Well, it came and something. Great to talk to you about it, Brad. Let's relive some of the highs and lows of the career of Freddy Fittler. Now Fittler.
What's on the step? Goes right through. What's on the step again? Oh, goes Freddy. That was magnificent stuff. Well, they shall not weary them.
He was just a kid that came into first grade and took to it like a duck does to water.
He was always going to be around in this game for a long, long time, and boy, what a career he put together.
It was so fun to watch.
One of the all-time greats.
He had it all, Freddie.
Best sidestep, I would say, that outside of maybe Graham Langland's I've seen.
It's just his tenaciousness near the try line to be able to score tries was freakish.
Most kids growing up probably had a Brad Fittler poster up on their wall at some stage.
Have you looked upon as one of the greatest Roosters of all, if not the greatest Rooster of all?
Such an instinctive player that when the game was on the line and he needed something to happen, Freddie would pull it out and make it happen.
Greg Alexander floats it out for Brad Fittler. Oh, the horse is bolted. Look at the big fellow go in.
When he burst on the scene at 17, 18, he had that unbelievable sidestep and just used to blow teams away as a centre. But then gradually, and at that time was probably a bit of a lad early in his career. But as he got older, he matured, both on and off the field. One of the best leaders I've ever played under. Just demanded respect and pushed you to different levels, both on the field and at training.
As a kid, he was just an exciting, effervescent, fun-loving, loose individual, but became one of the real role model, great leaders of our code.
I was actually there as an assistant coach to Gus when he wouldn't say when he burst on the scene. He'd already, I think, done some stuff the year before, but then Gus went to Penrith in the early 90s, and Freddie was just, everyone knew he was a quality schoolboy and he was the next big thing. But on most occasions, the next big thing don't make that extra step. Well, Fred did. I mean, he did it immediately and did it easily.
He's always very interesting, I have to say that. He sees things in a different way. I find him really refreshing. I love that he sees the world in a little bit different way. The thing I love about Brad is a lot of the stuff that he does that you don't see. Very involved in charity work, very conscious of young players coming through, always looking to promote the game of rugby league.
He was a bit of a party boy at the start of his career. He was renowned for being a partier and all this thing, but of course he settled down and looked after himself and was able to get play over 300 games. It's a real credit to him.
His ability to win games on his own was amazing, and you know, off the field as well, Freddie had that character which is very likeable, a little bit naughty at times, but you know, when you look back now and think about that, it puts a smile on your face because of the professionalism that he had on the field, and then that joker off the field to be able to balance those two things.
The best thing about Freddie is he's off his head like me, so I can go to him for advice. And not normal people wouldn't go to Freddie for advice, but I go to Freddie for advice, which is why we're both weird. You got to get on our level. It's fun up there. Come check it out.
The good thing about Freddie is he's Freddie. You never know what he's going to say now, what he's going to do, what he's going to come up with. He's a lunatic, and that's why everyone loves him. You know, he's off his, but he's fantastic, and you know, one of the greatest careers of all time.
He's Freddie Land, as the boys say, but you know, he doesn't say a bad word about anyone. He's just such a humble bloke and a very respectful person.
Oh, intercepted! And it is Brad! He's away inside the 73. Morley for Fittler, inside 30. Throws the dummy, sets his cover, heads for the line, puts the ball down.
Brad became a leader before his time because of the Super League war. He was probably thrust into leadership a little bit too young, but handled it really well and became one of our great leaders. The one thing that I know of Brad Fittler is how extremely tough he was, how hard he trained, how dedicated he was to his task, and the injuries that he played with. People would not believe the number of injuries that young boy played with just to get on the field every week, but you would never know it watching him play.
The amount of times that we worked together where he was scoring off one of my passes or I scored off one of his passes showed that we had a great combination there, and at one stage it was pretty lethal, you know.
He had it all, his kicking game, he was the perfect footballer, and you know, he had a lot of success there at the Roosters.
40-20 here, Ray.
Beautiful kick.
And Brad Fittler has provided once again.
I mentioned before that when something needed to happen, Freddie would pull it out, and you know, it was tight directly after half time, and you know, he got hit by Richie Villasanti, got split, tape over his head, bleeding most of the game, and then he pulls out a 40-20 to actually change the game. We go down and score a try, and then we go on and score, you know, 3 or 4 unanswered tries to win the grand final.
It was not just him leading us towards the 2002 premiership, but you know, again, it was just season after season, game after game. Whenever it mattered most, Freddie was there for us.
Yeah, when he finished, it was total transformation of the player, but also the sort of person he was. He was just such a tremendous leader, and for me, it was really inspirational to play alongside him.
Brad Fittler was always going to be a great footballer. People saw him coming from a very young age. But to go on that journey with him and to watch it, to observe it, to see the trends and the transition that he made from certain age groups and then through into leadership was extraordinary. And to see the player and the person that he became at the back end of his career, and now even post-career, the person that he is, I mean, we're all very proud of Brad Fittler.